Alright, so this wasn't exactly supposed to happen. I sourced this coat hanging rack from the dollar store with the thought of adding it to an area that I was already working on, but that ended up not working out, so now I'm working on it, trying to turn it into something besides an ugly ass Dollar Tree looking hanger. So, as one would, I went to Pinterest to search some inspiration. I didn't entirely know what I was looking for, but I knew some keywords would be dollar store, DIY, which ended up autocorrecting incorrectly, and I didn't realize right away, and coat hanger. A couple scrolls, and then I noticed and tried again. That did not yield any desired results, so one last time. Which was perfect, sort of. I had the idea to make these into some snails with clay, but then I felt that might be a little bit too heavy, so I scrolled once again. And I was faced with the perfect option once I messed around with it a little bit. I didn't want all of the mushrooms to be exactly the same. I wanted some to be longer than others and have a more organic growth direction. This brought me to the idea of shaping the pieces away and towards each other, like the middle pieces. It seemed like a good idea, but man, was it ever tiring. I tried wire cutters, a hammer, stronger wire cutters, and the thing that actually worked was my hands, backed with brute force, and a t-shirt around them, as a grip of sorts. Because when you're working this hard against something that wasn't supposed to be moved, but is meant to stand up to a multitude of weight put on it, things can get a little sweaty, present hands included. Now, if you couldn't already see a difference, instead of showing it before and after, I realized I had two. So I could just show you side by side, or rather top to bottom equivalent. Again, I'm taken back to the idea that I don't want them to be very symmetrical. First time in my life, probably I don't want it to be actually symmetrical. No two should be the same, which means I wanted to add some more on, and to do that I brought out some more wiring. Now this isn't going to be as much of a sturdy, stable addition. I wrapped it around the base and started shaping it with the wire cutters. And then adding a little bit of metal epoxy onto it to secure it down better. Waiting for that to cure, and then coming in with some clay, taking just a little bit at a time, rolling it out, flattening it with either my fingers or a roller, aka a bottle. and winding it around and around and around until it touched the top sphere, which is where I'll be placing the mushroom cap. I am making the cap again by taking a little bit of clay, rolling it between both of my palms to create a sphere, and then placing that over a knuckle or a finger depending on the size that I want it to be. Most of the smaller ones I would put around my pinky finger, and the larger ones would go around my pointer finger's knuckle. Pushing my other hand's palm down on it, and in a little bit I do end up etching into it to the bottom to create more texture. Adding some slip onto both the hanger and the mushroom cap, their innards, I guess? And shaping it down further, and then pulling up certain parts of the cap and pressing down other parts, and following these steps to the others. I didn't know if this would work, so I tried it out with 2 at first, and it went pretty well after it dried down, so I continued. Once they dried down though, all of them, I noticed quite a bit of cracking, so I added some more slip between any and all cracks. If you don't know what slip is, basically it's just clay mixed in with water until it gets to a very, very mushy consistency, which can definitely aid in keeping 2 pieces of already dried clay together. And I fixed that right up. allowed it to dry down one more time fully, and then it was time for the paint job. As usual, I'm going in with a coat of white. As for the stem color though, I'm mixing a flesh color. It's literally called flesh, which is kind of creepy, and a white into it to lighten it up, and then further mixing in a little bit of a brown to combat some of the pink tones. When that was dried down, I'm taking a brush and some medium brown paint and dry brushing it over the stems to create kind of more texture look to it without actually adding in the texture. I'm doing that to the back and the front. Using the darker color in the textured caps. And then back in with the original stem color over top to add even more dimension. And finally, the tops themselves, or the mushroom caps I guess, with a holiday red. I added 2 coats of this. And topped it with a simple white with a nail dotting tool in various sizes of dots. Maybe at another time I would do different mushrooms, but these are the most universally known as far as I can tell, and they seemed a good place to start. though I am going to be adding a layer of resin onto it. This adds a hardness to it, the ability to actually clean it, and a gloss finish, which I'm a fan of. I'll be honest though, I don't have too many ideas of what I want to go on the back to actually take away from the appearance of, oh, I don't know, a dollar store hanger still. And by that, I mean I have 0 ideas. Please send help. Okay, so that's a lie. I have one idea, and that's just to put a bunch of faux foliage just all around it, maybe hot glue it or super glue it down. But that is it for today's video. I do hope you guys enjoy.